Hey friends, this is Dolynny TV. Glad to have you aboard here this afternoon, this morning, whenever you get a chance to tune in as we follow up yesterday's not so great performance for the Oilers. A 3-0 blanking by the LA Kings. So definitely in a day in which you were hoping for three victories, I guess, technically as well. We were talking about that on the pregame, where you were hoping for Vegas to lose to the Flames, Kings lose to the Oilers, and Crossfield win Kraft Hockeyville. The whole sheet there went 0 for 3 as Crossfield didn't win. The Oilers got blanked 3-0, and Vegas won in overtime over top of the Calgary Flames. So that leaves us with a couple of scenarios here I want to discuss as we get going towards the last, now officially 2 weeks before the NHL playoffs get underway. So with that, if you are new to the channel, consider at any time hitting that subscribe button. Would love to have you aboard. It's free, easy to do. Just hit that button down below the video and away you go, or scroll up on your TV remote. So what do we know about the Oilers this morning? Well, I know that there was no reason to stay up late last night, really, because they were done at 5 o'clock. So for me personally, it's my own mistakes that have me sitting here hurting this morning. But for the Oilers, they're hurting for a whole nother different reason, as injuries continue to pile up day in, day out. Trent Frederick, I know his ice time was limited due to what appeared to be maybe a re-aggravation of that high ankle sprain, so we'll monitor that. You're still missing Evander Kane. You're still missing Connor McDavid. You're still missing Leon Draisaitl. You're still missing. The list goes on here. You're still missing as well Matthias Ekholm, and it's crazy. John Klingberg. There are a ton of players missing from this Edmonton Oilers lineup, or missing from being available to this Edmonton Oilers lineup, and it's just kind of crazy how the end of the season is really piled up here on the Edmonton Oilers, because the last few years we've been very, very lucky with injuries, right? I think that was kind of the theme that got us through to the Stanley Cup final last year, is just how down to the wire it went without having to suffer too many injuries. Obviously, yes, you had Kane all year last year, but still, one guy or two guys getting banged up at different times of the season isn't really going to be too much of a hindrance to be able to get going where you're going. Whereas for this Edmonton Oilers squad at this point, man, you're missing three of your top 6 players right now currently, and don't even forget how many other key pieces you're missing this roster, or have missed from this roster over the course of the year. So now, all year it's kind of been one of those things where maybe when this team gets a bit more healthy, when they're not sick or whatever, they'll really take off. And in a time in which we should be really taking off here after the trade deadline, which was kind of the idea of what this team would do, we still are in the murky middle of gaining more points than we're giving away. But at the same rate, we're also just kind of treading water, trying to get to that clinching scenario, which might happen Monday. I don't know if I've read anything on that yet. Maybe the Flames have something to say about that, but there might be a possibility the Oilers can clinch on Monday if the Flames lose and they win. But right as you're talking now, within this next week, the Oilers will be wrapping up their playoff spot. Whether that be playoff position, that's a whole nother thing. But it's kind of interesting to see that this probably shouldn't have been in doubt. This should have been a division winning team this year, and it's just now do you make the excuse of injuries? I don't think I'm ready to accept that, because I don't think it's a valid excuse ever, given some of the effort levels and given some of the performances we've seen from this Oilers team. But again, when you're sick for almost an entire month, when you're sitting there as well, you lost Victor Arvidsson before he could even truly get going at the start of the year. You've not had Evander Kane all year, so you've been playing, manipulating, and doing some weird things. Again, the whole different roster construction that this team would have had Evander Kane not been known to go on the LTIR with an unknown return date. And that's the thing. I will tell you, Dylan Holloway would still be an Edmonton Oiler if the Oilers had planned on Evander Kane being on LTIR all season. So that's kind of the weird, scary part about all this for the Oilers, is it just kind of has cascaded upon itself and just become what it is, in which you've only got 93 points with 76 games played. You're probably going to finish somewhere around 98, 99, which is kind of actually lackluster compared to the last few years, uh, given the expectations coming out last year at least. And now all of a sudden as well, you're kind of fighting from behind against the LA Kings, who have been absolutely deadly at home, just mopped you again 3-0 on home ice, and you're trying to go in there, win one of two first games of the series, and bring it back to Edmonton with a chance to go up either 3-1 or keep it at least 2-2. So, yeah, I really don't know what to make about this Edmonton Oilers season here late, but it's kind of been a tough watch all year, and now all of a sudden you actually do have something that at the end of the line you can point the finger to and say, well, if we were healthier. But woulda, coulda, shoulda, and if, man, those are the worst things to say in sports, in life, in anything. So really sitting here blaming the injuries might not be the best solution either, but it is crazy to think about where this team could have been. Again, woulda, coulda, shoulda, if. It's all a game that doesn't matter, but it is starting to feel like there's some validity there, and that really sucks for the Edmonton Oilers and for us, who definitely weren't willing to give this team a fair shake out of the gate. But there was a time where this team did get going, and then all of a sudden it just has never kind of kept going. So that is where we're at here today, friends. The Edmonton Oilers, a team riddled by injuries down the stretch, riddled by injuries pretty much since January, really. And yeah, it's just kind of what it is at this point. We go into Anaheim tomorrow at 8:30, another game in which if you got to work in the morning, you're probably not getting all the way through it. And if you are, you're probably loading up on the coffee pretty well by the time you get out of bed. You got the old espresso machine right next to your couch or whatever you pass out on. So that's where the Edmonton Oilers are at in my view today, friends. Thanks for being aboard. Appreciate you hanging out as always. We will see what the next few days bring for the Oilers. It's maybe as early as Monday you clinch, maybe as early as Wednesday. I don't know what the formula truly is, but there is something to it with the Flames having lost last night, that the Oilers can be 10 points up, and if the Flames lose the next game, well, now all of a sudden they're 10 points out, and if there's any tiebreakers, I don't know about. There's your scenarios. So we'll see what happens here, friends, but thanks for being aboard. As always, I am up on out of here.